Saturn enters Aries on May 24th, 2025, signifying it's time for an intentional new start based on who you are now. Saturn stays in Aries until April 13th, 2028. So it's the typical Saturn journey of about 3 years in a single astrology sign, giving you 3 years to focus on the Aries energies that you are ready to implement, apply with a structure, act responsibly, and understand who you are now with greater strength in yourself and your capabilities. Saturn is the energy of commitment, responsibility, structures, what we take seriously, how we need to see something through for the long term. Saturn shows where we also need to mature and do something on our own. This is an important theme here with this Saturn, especially in Aries, because Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. Cardinal fire. Aries typically wants to move fast and get quick results. There is a lot of action and enthusiasm with Aries. It is the warrior, the leader, the pioneer. And as Saturn comes into the sign, we are coming into contact with more of who we really are now, how to cement it and honor it in ourselves, and also to act responsibly in calming down that Aries desire to get somewhere fast, because Saturn does apply the brakes and doesn't want us to move too fast because we might miss something. Saturn wants you to think it through, consider the strategy, the requirements, what are the terms and conditions, what are you agreeing to, and is it in alignment with who you are now? Aries is the sense of self. So one of the highest expressions here of Saturn in Aries is a new sense of command and self-honor in who you are and what you want to create with your life. So this brings up a strong theme of self-leadership. Self-leadership where you are honoring what is true for you now, what's in alignment, what is best for you. And here is Saturn saying, okay, let's do something with it. Let's put this into a form, a structure, something that works for you based on what you want to create in your life. We haven't had Saturn in Aries for 30 years. So this is truly looking at what matters to you now that you want to start and initiate, at least for the next 3 years. Because I know when we talk about these astrology cycles and we talk about how big they are, you're like, Molly, I can't think of 30 years. I can barely think of a week from now. So when we're talking about Saturn and Aries, it being a 3-year transit, you can even just break that down into the month by month or maybe year by year understanding of this is what I want to invest in because it matters to me. Self-leadership, a very big theme here as Saturn moves into Aries. The other thing you want to look at is how you are honoring your energy, and I'm seeing it as energetic maturity, where we are all in charge of hearing ourselves, understanding ourselves, cleansing our auras, taking care of our needs, and really getting to the truth of what we need and who we are now. If you're on a spiritual path, if you've been doing the healing work and the personal work, if you've been highly aware of your astrology, which I know many of you are, and you're understanding that there's been really big transits here, really big transits, but how am I taking care of myself? How am I listening to my needs and honoring what I need now, knowing that no one else can do that for me? No one else is in charge of that. I am in charge of it. So there's a maturity element here around this is who I am, this is what I need, this is what I'm about. And Saturn in Aries brings our attention to the parts of ourselves that need to mature now. And so Aries, being the first sign of the zodiac, is the infant. And the energy of the baby, it can be quite simple. It can be quite primal. And Saturn says it's time to mature some things here. It's time to look at what is working for you, what is paying off, and what you need to now do on your own, and to not expect others to do it for you, or to ignore it or push it away. So a maturity energy here is going to be more prominent for any planets or points in Aries. And the Saturn energy, because it moves so slowly, it hasn't been here for 30 years, it brings about changes in your real world. You're going to have changes in the Aries areas of your chart, changes of responsibility, changes in your professional capabilities, understanding what you want or what calls to you, and how you use your energy every day. When Saturn comes through, it gives us some kind of reality check, and we understand, I like this or I don't like this. I want this or I don't want this. And that's going to be showing up here. And you're going to have to basically make some important choices, because Saturn requires decisions. And those decisions need to be based on maturity. So, being more mature and willing to develop any of those lower Aries expressions will be a big theme here for some people. One thing that the Aries energy also brings in is that desire to start. Let's go for it. Let's begin. I'm ready for the new thing. Sometimes that energy moves too fast, too quickly. It's too impatient. It gets all excited and doesn't ask the appropriate questions. Saturn is coming in to make sure that that courage and that desire to start something is done so thoughtfully and responsibly. So this is the third thing to be aware of Saturn in Aries, is what am I starting? What's really involved here? What's the small print? And to also not act too fast, to sit with it. If there's a big, exciting offer, invitation, new start presenting itself for you with Saturn in Aries, take a beat, take a week, think it through, analyze it, consider this, consider that. Don't impulsively say yes or think that you have to move fast in order to catch it or grab it. Instead, be thoughtful and responsible with the beginnings that are showing up. And then you're going to see, well, what has legs? What has legs to go the distance? And so that brings in another theme here with Saturn and Aries, is that you're going to want to think of, what am I building? What am I creating, and how? How am I doing so? Saturn, being practical, grounded, clear, is going to look for, how is this developing and coming together? It can't just be this big, wild, exciting, inspired idea. How's it really going to land? How is it really going to work? And so part of what Saturn does when it first moves into a sign is that it shows you what's not working. And it can be a sense of defeat and disappointment. Saturn is hard knocks. It's like, yeah, this isn't right for you. This isn't paying off for you. Saturn doesn't tend to your feelings about it. It just says, this is not correct. This is not bringing in results. This is no longer your path. And so the course corrections happen here. And Saturn in Aries is going to shut down what isn't true for you, so that it can open up what is truer, what's in alignment, and where you can build and move it forward. So yes, there can be the shutdowns, there can be the closures here, even if something you thought would get off the ground. And then Saturn comes through with his list, the checklist, says actually it's not this. So there can be the false starts that lead to the true starts. So understand that there will be tests here about what really needs to get started because it is the correct path for you. And then note that that means that some things are going to be removed and they are not meant to be started and they're not going to go any further. The other area of yourself to be aware of here with Saturn and Aries is to be clear on how you take action and where it stems from. I feel that Saturn and Aries, it grounds down and it slows down the root chakra, which is the Aries energy. Aries energy of I'm here in this body, action oriented. It can be quite primal and instinctual. And Saturn brings in that reality check. And I see it as grounding in that root chakra and strengthening it. Because as I say that, I'm seeing the energy go down the earth and then I'm seeing it go up the spine and go up through the spine and even in through the bones of the body, the structure of the body, which is Saturn. But Saturn doesn't move quickly. There's a pace and a tempo to Saturn that slows down that initial adrenaline rush. So I feel that part of the Saturn and Aries is going to be redefining our connection to our body consciousness and to understanding where there's maybe a heaviness, a slowdown. Saturn relates to chronic issues in the body in terms of health and actually medical astrology. So chronic issues are related to the Aries expressions in ourselves, which is not only the root chakra, but Aries is adrenaline, blood, hormones, the head, skull, eyes. Not everyone's gonna have chronic issues with these things. I'm just giving you an understanding of how it all connects. It's almost like we're going to need to have greater responsibility and slow down the initial impulsive desire and an adrenaline rush and allow our body to settle into something and ensure that it's in alignment. Because as I say that, I'm seeing a spine that it does a zigzag. I'm seeing a zigzag spine that looks like indecision. Should I do this? Should I not? Should I go for it? Should I wait? And where I'm feeling the energy strengthens is in the purity of who you are now. And I feel that purity, it doesn't come from overthinking it. It comes from that initial physical body response. And so it's interesting because you might be learning to trust your body more and understanding that part of what Saturn and Aries wants us to do is trust the slowdown and that Interesting. If there's a delay, if there's a delayed response or a delayed yes, that delay is working in your favor, even though the Aries energy wants it now. I want to know now. I need the answer now. Where is it? Tell me. I can't wait. Saturn slows that down and can create confusion where you might feel like this is a yes, and I'm just going to wait and sit in the yes until I feel the action is ready to start. Or you might feel that you're sitting in a no, and you could be fighting yourself, which can be the Aries energy as well. You're fighting your instincts, or you're fighting the universe, or you're pushing back because you can't get your way, or it's not happening how you want it to. But Saturn says no, and that goes back to this maturing energy of, okay, the answer is no. No. I can feel this is a no. I'm disappointed. I'm discouraged. I don't like that answer. But that means it leads you to the next yes. It is an interesting energy here of Saturn and Aries. And I feel that it strengthens and becomes clearer as we honor what we really want now. So these themes that I've covered here, and I'll put them below in the description, are going to be quite prominent, and it's calling each of us into our individual energy fields. It's calling us into the sense of, this is what I want. And it doesn't require anyone else's validation or acknowledgement or agreement. This is what I want to build and do next in my life. And that's where we're being encouraged to stand on our own, be more independent, be bold in our self-love and self-awareness, and know that there's a courage here that could be settling in, and you're feeling it. It's like you're feeling it more strongly because Saturn is supporting this next level courage. We will keep talking about this, of course. We will keep discussing the Saturn and Aries energies, but I just wanted to give you a heads up and some things to grasp and be aware of in your own experience, so that when you're seeing it arrive and you're seeing it play out in a certain way, you can identify it and understand what it's about, and then how to return to yourself and really determine, is this what I want? Is this correct for me? And that's one of the best places here to source your energy with Saturn in Aries. Thank you for joining me. I'll be back with another video soon.